What's up, everybody? This is Brian Holiday, and you're listening to The Dumbest Timeline. This may not be the darkest timeline, but it sure as hell is the dumbest one. Hi, everyone. My name is Brian Holiday, and I am a podcast blurred. I think when I say podcast blurred, some people always wonder what exactly that means. I enjoy podcasting. I enjoy broadcasting in general. It's something I've been doing for most of my life, more than half of my life. And I see it as just a way of expressing myself and creating content. When I was younger, I was a musician. I played the saxophone, and I come from a musical family. So, in some way, I guess podcasting is my way of staying connected to that, because I don't really play an instrument anymore. Although, if you give me a saxophone, I'd probably be able to get back into it. Alto. Saxophone, of course. So, some of you may know that I am a podcast host. I host Geektastic Cypher. That is a free X-Agents Media production that is available on youtube.com/freeXagentsMedia. And we do that show every Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I also used to be one of the co-hosts of a podcast called That's Canon Podcast, which focused on comic books. And most recently, I was hosting a podcast called Not a Journalist. I would like to go back to Not a Journalist. I think there are a lot of great conversations to be had. Unfortunately, I just had to take some time off from it because the production schedule that I had laid out for myself became a little overwhelming with the other things I had going on, such as returning to my full-time job after I was furloughed during the pandemic. With that said, this new series that I'm hoping to bring to life, I'm going to refer to it as a limited series for now because I don't plan on doing it for a long period of time. But this limited series, The Dumbest Timeline, is focused on the idea that we don't live in the darkest timeline, but we do live in the dumbest one. And I say that not because I think we as a people are idiots. I actually regularly have conversations with my friends in which I will try and find the rational and logical seed or core idea behind something that is perceived to be idiotic. And a lot of times my friends are just like, you just have to accept that some people aren't rational. And I'm always of the mindset that there has to be something. At the core, the people doing this thing believe they're doing it for X reason. For example, I'm Canadian. I live in Canada right now. There's a large freedom convoy that has made its way to the nation's capital. There are 8,000 or 10,000 or whatever, couple thousands of people in Ottawa who say they are there to ask for the mandates that have been brought upon us because of the pandemic. They're asking for those to be removed. They're asking for all mandates to be removed. They're asking the federal government to remove them. So originally I, kept trying to understand what exactly they wanted because, as you can imagine, a large group of people making their way across the country and arriving in Ottawa didn't have a specific leader or spokesperson and had a lot of ideas. And I would hear different ideas. I would hear they're asking for all mandates to be removed. They're asking for the border mandates to be removed. They're asking for the mask mandates to be removed, travel mandates to be removed. And I kept thinking to myself, well, okay, but why are they going to Ottawa to do that? Because the federal government in Canada doesn't create the mandates on a provincial level, right? So the mask mandates that we have in Quebec, where I am, or in Ontario, or any other province that has mask mandates, those are done on a provincial level. So the federal government doesn't decide that. Then I was trying to understand what they were asking for regarding the border, because they're asking Canada to lift the mandates for the border so that the truckers don't need to be vaccinated. to cross the border. But remember, these are Canadian truckers who are within Canada and can cross into Canada without being vaccinated because they are Canadian citizens, and as Canadian citizens cannot be denied entry into their own country. So then I started asking anyone who was aware of the situation from the Freedom Convoy's perspective, well, why are you in Ottawa asking the Canadian federal government to lift the U.S. border mandate? And of course, no one had a valid answer for me because that's not how it works. So, and then the last thing I heard was they were asking for the current legally elected Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, to be... Actually, they're not asking for him to be removed. They're asking for him to step down. So I started asking very fair and logical questions to, once again, anyone who is on the side of the Freedom Convoy who could have a fair and honest and serious objective conversation with me, because I'm someone that represents... I don't love the mandates. I think some of the mandates are helpful, but I don't think they're all helpful. And I'm interested in hearing what these other people who are saying take all the mandates away are saying, because I want to understand what they're looking for. So when I asked them, what is the plan in a situation where you do get what you want and the Prime Minister, legally elected recently, decides to step down because less than 1% of the Canadian population has made its way to Ottawa and demanded he do so. And I think that I'm asking a pretty fair question. But the response was very negative. Everyone saw my question as some sort of insult or slight, or I was trying to pick at what they were saying. And I was trying to pick at what they were saying, because if you're going to ask for such drastic things as the Prime Minister to step down, which once the Prime Minister would step down, it would cause a larger economic slide, because as anyone knows, or if you're not aware, anytime a world leader has been asked, quote unquote, or forced to step down abruptly, it has affected the economy of that country. So I thought it was fair to ask, in the situation where Justin Trudeau, who is the head of the Liberal Party and the Prime Minister of Canada, is and fairly and legally duly elected into the office, steps down and is then replaced by someone who is also in the Liberal Party, because they're not having the party leave, they're having the leader leave. And now this new person comes into power, and the people, the scientists who have been informing Justin as to the science behind the decisions he's been making, they're still there. And the Liberals are still there. And the economy is sliding more now. So I just ask the question of, what's the plan? And this is when people often tend to start insulting me or telling me I'm dumb or I don't understand. And I guess they're not wrong that I don't understand, because I don't understand what the plan is. And I think it's fair to ask, what's the plan? Because as one of the Canadians that would be affected by this decision, I feel that it is very fair of me to ask what the plan is for this decision. I have the right to ask them what's the plan for it. The same way that these people felt they had the right to, and the freedom to present themselves in the nation's capital and make demands, is the same way that the rest of us who are affected by the decision of a small group that is less than, at the time that I'm recording this, from everything that I've read, they make up less than 1% of Canada's population. But those people and I'm, again, still willing to listen, think I am stupid or dumb for asking them a question as to what the next step is. So that's when I started to realize that perhaps this will never be resolved in a logical or rational way, because I'm asking a rational question to people that so far don't believe in being rational. And that's the thing. I call this show, or this limited series, The Dumbest Timeline, in hopes that I'll be proven wrong. Because I don't think the world is dumb, but I do have concerns that when a small group can blockade a nation's capital and make demands, and when others ask them pretty fair questions about the demands that they're making, and again, not targeting them, not trying to dismantle them, not trying to hinder their process, actually and genuinely, objectively trying to understand what they're saying, and then to be called an idiot constantly, does not leave me with a lot of hope. But fingers crossed, throughout this limited series, I hope that we will be able to find that we don't live in the dumbest timeline. And I look forward to exploring that with you, the listeners, and fans, and potentially the people who will disagree with me and, once again, call me an idiot. I'm Brian Holiday. I'd like to thank you very much for listening to this introduction. And make sure you check out all my content. It's available on brianholiday.com. That's Brian, HOLIDAE.com. Thank you, and take care.